Hello, here's my first maths video. Each lesson will include a starter challenge, and this week we're going to focus on multiplying and dividing fractions. I will complete a new unit with you each week. I'm having to think quite carefully about which units we cover on the online videos because some of them are quite hard to explain over a PowerPoint, because it's always easier when we're in school together, when we can ask each other questions, when I can get the equipment out. So we'll see how we go, but please feel free to message me any questions that you have after the video. Let's get started. So the starter for today is this maze. So you need to start at the bottom here at the number 5, and you need to make your way to the finishing box, which is number 4. But as you go, you need to add up the numbers, and when you reach the finished number 4, you need to have made the total 53. So for example, if I was going to go 5, I'd have to go 5, add 5, add 8, add 6, add 4, add 9, add 5, add 7, add 4. I have no idea if that one works. Maybe you could check it for me. I'd like to see your solution afterwards, so please post me your string of numbers that you've added together. The extra challenge, which I've heard is harder, but I've heard it's possible, is to find a root that makes the total 60 when you've gone from 5 to 4. Okay, pause the video and have a go. Okay, here is one solution. You can see it highlighted on the grid. I'm sure there are other solutions, so please send me your string of numbers that you've added so I can check them and so that I can see how many solutions there are for this challenge. I haven't got a solution for making 60, so if you found that, I'd love you to send that to me. Now, we're going to start with a reminder. So remind me, how do you work out this? 1/4 of 20. Now, we've done this in school, mainly in wake-up shake-ups, I think, as little starter tasks. I want to know, what's the answer? I'd like to see a bar model representation, so please draw that down with your pencil and paper. I want to know, which operation does the word of represent? So does it represent multiply, divide, add, or subtract? And I'd like to know if the answer is smaller or larger than the start number 20. Have a think. If someone's free, you can talk through the answers with them, or just jot your answers down on a piece of paper and share them with me after the video. Off you go. Here are some ways to visualise 1/4 of 20. So up here, if you look where my mouse is, you can see a bar model. So 20 represents the whole. So that's why it's got a full bar here. Now the denominator, 4, tells us how many parts to divide 20 into. So that's a 4. So I have divided 20 into 4 equal parts. So 20 divided by 4 is 5. And I've put a 5 in each of the parts. If I count up 5, 10, 15, 20. Now the numerator, which is 1, tells me how many of the parts to take. So I would like one of the parts, so I just highlight 1. So the answer is 5. Okay, so 1/4 of 20 is 5. Please let me know if you got that correct. Now, of can be represented with the operation, the multiplication symbol. Okay, they mean the same thing. So 1/4 of 20 is the same as 1/4 multiplied by 20, or 1/4 times 20. Okay, I always think that when you put the times symbol there, it makes it look harder. So you need to remember that it just means of. Okay, and the answer, 5, is smaller than the start number. Okay, so when any whole number is multiplied by a proper fraction, such as 20 multiplied by 1/4, the whole number becomes smaller. Okay, we're not talking about this today, but if it said 1 and 1/4, so that's a mixed number, times 20, then the answer would be larger. But we're just focusing on proper fractions today. Now I'd like you to practice that skill that we've just recapped. So I'd like you to, on your piece of paper, I'd like you to complete these calculations and write your answers down. So 1/4 times 20, no, sorry, I'm reading it wrong. 1/10 times 20, 4/7 times 56. Remember, these questions are the same as these over here. So 1/10 multiplied by 20 is the same as 1/10 of 20. Okay, some of us will say we divide by the bottom and multiply by the top. Some of us will draw a bar model. Both are good. I like it when people draw bar models, but it's also good to remember the mathematical rule. Okay, pause the video and have a go. And if you need to, I'm going to put back just quickly. There's the bar model, and there's the calculation string, so that's a reminder. It's always the same. Off you go. Pause the video. Right, let's see how you did. So the answers are on screen, they're highlighted in blue. And just to check, so 1/10 times 20 means you would do 20 divided by 10, which is 2. So that means that we've separated the whole into 10 equal parts. Okay, then we've got 2 in each part. The numerator, 1, tells us that we want one of the parts. So the answer is just 2. The next question, 4/7 multiplied by 56. The answer is 32, because we needed to do 56 divided by 7. Okay, we're sharing 56 into 7 equal parts, which is 8. And then we do 8 multiplied by 4, because we want 4 of the parts. So 8, 16, 24, 32. Next question, 3/5 of 20. So that means you do 20 divided by 5. So you separate 20 into 5 equal parts, which is 4. Okay, one way of checking is just counting up. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Okay, and then we multiply by the numerator. We would like 3 parts. So I've highlighted 3. So the answer is 12. 4, 8, 12. Final question, 3/4 times 36. So we divide 36 into 4 equal parts, so there's 9 in each part, and we then multiply by 3. So the answer is 27. Please let me know afterwards how you did. And if you got them wrong, don't worry, maybe now you understand it better, and if you'd like you can email me and I'll send you some more questions to try out. Now, just to check, I've done some questions here. I've said that 1/3 of 99 is 33, and 2/8 of 24 is 3. Please tell me now if I've got them right or wrong, true or false. Pause the video and have a think. Okay, now I've done some bar models to check my workings. And I found that 1/3 of 99 is 33, because 99 divided by 3 is 33. And I times 33 by 1, because I only want one of the parts, so the answer is definitely 33. Next question. Now, I've checked my workings, and this is a common mistake which you need to watch out for, because lots of people do this. So, I put 3 originally. So I must have done 24 divided by 8, which is 3, because I've got 3 in each of the parts. But what I forgot to do was multiply by the numerator. There's a 2 here, so I should have done 3 times 2. I wanted 2 of the parts, so the answer should be 6. Wonder if you got that right. Now we're going to move on, so we're looking at multiplication today. So up here, if we just think about it, if I said to you 1/4 multiplied by 1, the answer is quite straightforward, it just means 1/4. If you would like one lot of 1/4, you just end up with one of them, so 1/4. My question for you to think about now is, if one of the quarters, so this highlighted one here, is made half as long, so it's cut in half, what fraction of the whole will the new part be? So imagine here, I chop it in half, 2 equal parts. Okay, I'm chopping the 1/4 in half. What fraction will it become? Pause the video and have a think. Okay, so here we go. I'm now going to show you if my computer loads. It's just going to hopefully start the slideshow. Here we go. Bit slow. Right, there we go. So I'm now going to show you what it looks like. So if you divide one of the quarters in half, you can see there the yellow block represents the new fraction. Now if you chop one of the quarters in half, you actually have to chop all of the quarters in half to work out how many parts are in the whole now. So if we look, you can see, if we count up, that we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if we chop one of the quarters in half, we have to do it because all the parts in a fraction have to be equal. Okay, we've now got 8 equal parts in the whole, and we'd like one of them. So I wonder if you've got it. That means that half of a quarter is 1/8. I wonder if you got that right. Okay. Now remember earlier we were talking about which operation can represent the word of. Okay, have a think. Can you remember which one it was? Was it add, subtract, divide or multiply? Okay, the answer is multiply. So if we look on screen now, a half of a quarter is 1/8. Or you could say 1/2 times 1/4 equals 1/8. Let's have a look at another example now. So this follows the same pattern, but we're looking at a different fraction. If one of the thirds is made half as long, just like before, we were looking at quarters before, now we're looking at thirds. So if you halve one of the thirds, what fraction will the new part be? Pause the video and have a think. Right, let's have a look. So I'm chopping the third in half. Remember, whatever you do to one of the parts, you've got to do to the other parts because you have to make sure all the parts in the whole are equal. Okay, so let's have a think now. How many parts will be in the whole? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 equal parts in the whole. I'd like one of them. So that means the answer is 1/6. I wonder if you got that right. So now we know that 1/2 of 1/3 is 1/6. And we could say that a half multiplied by a third is 1/6. So it's a little bit odd really that when we're doing a half of a third, we're making it smaller. It's strange we've ended up with a 6. I wonder if you can explain why. Why is it a 6 when we actually halve the fraction? Normally, if I said to you, what's half of 4, we'd get the answer 2. The answer is normally smaller. But when we're halving fractions, the denominators become bigger. Okay, here's one way of explaining it. So there were 3 equal parts in the whole. Each of the 3 parts was halved. So now we have 6 equal parts in the whole. So when you halve each part, you double the number of parts created. So the start fraction denominator is doubled. I wonder if that makes sense to you. You might have explained it in a better way. Okay, look at this one now. So think about it first. What's the question? What would the question be? Okay, the question would be, what is 1/2 of 1/6? Have a think. What will it be? Follow the pattern that we had last time. How many parts have we got? We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So we've got 12 parts in the whole, and we would like 1. So the answer is 1/12. This is your task for today. I would like you to complete these questions. I'd like you to write your answers down on a piece of paper. And I will share the answers with you in a moment so you can mark. So pause the video and complete the questions, remembering the rule that we've just learned. Okay, so the rule, remember, is when you halve a fraction, the number of parts in the denominator actually doubles. So 1/2 of 1/7 would be 1/14. 1/2 of a 12th would be 1/24. 1/2 of 1/9 would be 1/18. And 1/2 of 1/15 would be 1/30. Please let me know how you got on. Share your work on Teams with me. I'd love to hear how you did. Okay, so that's the end of today's session. Thanks for joining in, and I look forward to you joining me back on the next lesson. Bye for now.